Hey friends, it's Dorothy with crazyforcrust.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make this glorious French bread. We're going to make 2 delicious loaves of French bread that's perfect for a side dish or any meal or dessert. You're not going to want to miss this recipe. Now, French bread seems like it would be something hard to make, but it's actually really easy. I have a white bread recipe that I made a few weeks ago, and it's super simple, and this is just as easy as that one. For more delicious desserts and easy recipes, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Now let's get in the kitchen. So we're gonna start this recipe by adding 1 cup of flour to the bowl of my stand mixer. To that, I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of salt and 2 packets of instant yeast. I'm using Fleischman's rapid rise yeast today, but almost every brand of yeast has an instant yeast product. So just look for the words instant on the packet. The beauty of using rapid rise or instant yeast is we don't have to proof it. That's why we just whisk those dry ingredients together. And now it's time to deal with the wet ingredients. Fill a measuring cup with 1 3/4 cups of water, and then you're gonna heat it in the microwave for about a minute to a minute and a half. You want the temperature of the water to be between 120 and 130 degrees. I like using an instant read thermometer to test the temperature, but if you don't have one, just think hot bath water. Once your water's hot, add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And then you're going to add the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. Attach the dough hook to your mixer and start mixing. Make sure to use a spatula to scrape the sides and the bottom of the bowl so that all the flour and that water get incorporated. After just about 30 seconds, you're gonna measure out 2 more cups of flour. Now make sure you're measuring your flour correctly. You don't wanna pack it. I like to use a spoon to scoop it into the measuring cup. Add the 2 more cups of flour into your bowl and run your mixer. Once that's combined, you're gonna add about another 1.5 cups to 2 cups of flour, for a total of 4.5 to 5 cups. You'll know the mixture is done because it all forms together in the center of the mixer, and when you touch it, it comes off with just a little bit of transfer to your finger. And now it's time to knead our dough and prep it for rising and baking. I like to use a really large cutting board and sprinkle it lightly with flour. Turn your dough out onto the cutting board and start to knead it. Now, if you've used a stand mixer, you won't have to knead it for more than a couple of minutes. I love kneading bread. It's actually really cathartic, makes me feel really good, and kind of is relaxing. Just keep kneading, adding more flour to the dough as needed until it forms a nice cohesive ball. Now you're gonna know that it's done when you press it with 2 fingers, it'll bounce back when you touch it. Now this is another awesome thing about using rapid rise yeast is instead of a rise time right now, we're just gonna cover it with a kitchen towel and let it sit for 10 minutes. Now this French bread recipe makes 2 loaves of bread, so we're gonna divide our dough in half. For each half of the dough, use a rolling pin to roll out a rectangle, about 6 by 12 inches, it doesn't have to be perfect, and then roll it up from the long side of the dough. Then pinch each end to form the pointed ends of the loaf. Do the same thing with the other half of the dough, and then place them both on a cookie sheet. I like to bake these on a Silpat baking mat, but you can use parchment paper also. And now we have to do what we have to do whenever we make bread, we have to let it rise. So cover your dough with a towel and let it rise until it's about doubled in size. This will take about 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, uncover your dough, and now we're gonna get it ready for the oven. There are 2 things you have to do to French bread before you bake it to give it that telltale look that French bread has. One is we want to get all those little cuts that we have in the bread, right? So the way to do that is to take a sharp knife and just add little cuts down the bread. I usually use about 5 to 6 of them depending on how long your loaf is. Don't go too deep with the cuts, but make small slices all the way down the loaf, about 5 or 6 slices per loaf. And then to get that golden brown outside, you're gonna brush this with egg wash. I'm just using an egg white because I had a carton of egg whites in my fridge, but if you are using a whole egg, just beat it with a fork. And then brush it on using a pastry brush, just lightly. We don't want eggs on our bread. We just want it to make that nice golden look to it. Now I'm gonna bake this at 400 degrees for a total of about 20 minutes. Set your timer for 15 minutes because after that we're gonna rotate the pan and we're gonna rebrush it with egg wash to get it nice and golden. And then cook it for another 5 to 10 minutes until it's nice and crusty on the outside. It sounds hollow when you tap it. Now, something that's really important is to make sure that you cool the bread on a wire rack. If you cool it on the pan that you cooked it on, it's going to get soggy on the bottom. So I like cooling it on a wire rack so that the air can circulate and keep it nice and crusty even on the bottom. And that's it. That's all you need to do to make glorious French bread. It smells amazing, just like that loaf you'll pick up at the grocery store, although it tastes better because you made it at home. I cannot wait to taste this. It's soft and chewy on the inside and crunchy on the outside. This is way better than anything you get at the store. And look how easy it was. Remember, my friends, if I can do it, you can do it. Leave me a comment and let me know any questions or concerns you have about making bread at home. I'm gonna go enjoy my bread. You keep watching.